from my understanding, Aaron, has messed up with a lot of people.
You were replaced as Nightwing.
By who?
By Aaron Schoenke.
By Aaron.
How did that, was there a conversation? Did he say, hey, by the way, you're out?
There was nothing. It wasn't just Aaron. It wasn't just Sean, his dad. It was all of us, every single one of us. It was getting together. It was coming up with stories. Kevin and I had a fight. I did my own stunts. We had nothing. And so when we're looking around inside this comedy club with the Mad Hatter and Batman's supposed to knock Nightwing across the room, I look and I'm like, well, okay, there's a whole bunch of cardboard boxes I can just fly into. And I'm like, all right, do it. So I'm literally throwing my body in these boxes and trying to make this comic book come to light, not because of money, not because it's because I enjoyed it.
Large, important part of the film is the locations. And locations are really hard to acquire for a fan film because when big movies shoot, they get permits and whatnot, so you're allowed to shoot there, otherwise you're trespassing. But for shooting a fan film, there's nothing you can do, so you have to trespass. And we did that a lot of times. Lucky for us, though, we knew a few people who had really good locations. My uncle has a underground comedy club, which we use for the Joker base scene. And my friend, Michael Teitelbaum, his father owns a jewelry store, which he was really cool about letting us use it.
Kevin and I enjoyed it. And one of the greatest things about Batman and Nightwing is that relationship that they have. There's a brotherhood, there's a fatherhood, there's this father-son, there's a relationship to that. And when you take that and pull that out and replace it with somebody else, the organicness of Batman and Nightwing goes away. And with Kevin and I, we had that organic. It was organic because of who we were with each other, both outside in our job and then outside as a friendship. What saddens me is that you film for the filming of superhero content. The sole purpose of a superhero is to be selfless. And here you are, selfish.
The satisfying downfall of Aaron Schoenke continues as we add another person who Aaron screwed over coming forward to share their experience. I'm well aware that since I started interviewing people who worked with Aaron, he has been trying to contact everyone from Paul to Damian to Chase, calling some of them nonstop despite not talking to them in years with the exception of Damian. And let's not forget Nicole, who is also doing his bidding, trying to convince people like Rachel not to speak with me. Good thing she failed. I'm here to warn you. If Aaron contacts you or you speak with him, prepare for him to go live at some point or even make a statement and say, hey, I spoke with insert person I interviewed and it was all a misunderstanding. We're cool now, but I digress. Similar to how he writes off everything. When I first started covering Aaron's wicked ways, I thought, Bat in the Sun's original Joker, Paul Molnar, was the first person Aaron replaced. But I was wrong. I'm here to tell you, I was wrong, It's not just Paul who he replaced with himself to be more famous, but it was Tyrone Lucas was the original Nightwing. But you won't find Tyrone's name on any of the Bat in the Sun wiki, and Aaron will not be posting the old clips of him like he does with Kevin Porter anytime a video comes out. Aaron wanted people to forget Tyrone ever existed. That's why he's not credited anywhere. I do find that wildly ironic considering Aaron also made a post about how it's important that stunt actors be acknowledged. But did Aaron ever acknowledge Tyrone Lucas being a stunt actor for him? Let's let Tyrone tell his story. All right, everybody, I am here with the Tyrone Lucas. Actually, someone said you may be the founder of the superpower beatdowns, in a roundabout way, but just introduce yourself. Who are you and why are you here?
Well, my name is Tyrone. I'm here because I've been so far removed from Bat in the Sun, and this is all crazy to me. Crazy to me that I'm hearing these stories. And Kevin Porter is a dear, dear friend of mine. We're talking, I'll die for this guy. Wow. A dear friend of mine. I'm gathering you got that founder from him because him and I will battle back and forth of where and how this came to be. So after hearing the stories with Kevin and what took place with him and what Aaron was saying about him, Kevin's like, look there's somebody out there. He mentioned you by name, so he knows who you are. And he kind of wants to hear your story. He asked me, would you talk to him? And I took it upon myself, Kevin saying, he's like, yeah, heck yeah, he would, And so here we are,
Okay.
But for the conception, I'll say this. Bat in the Sun may or may not be as big as they are if it was not for me introducing Aaron and Kevin.
Wow. There it is, guys. That is the Kevin Porter, Aaron Schoenke origin story. Fans should ask Aaron if Tyrone Lucas introduced Kevin to Aaron. See what he says. Aaron loves answering questions, so I'm sure he won't block you for mentioning Kevin Porter in his comment section like he has been doing ever since I started covering his debauchery. But let's let Tyrone continue.
So Aaron, his father, Sean, myself, and Kevin Porter were inside my apartment in LA, and Aaron was trying to get Kevin and I to do a short, Batman Madness, with Mad Hatter. I'm Robin, Kevin's Batman. And that was a conception of the beginning of Bat in the Sun. To my understanding.
Okay. How did you meet Aaron?
That is a story that, so I used to work at Universal Studios along with Kevin Porter, and I was Spider-Man, Wolverine. Going through, you meet a lot of people in that industry, especially coming through, and superheroes were kind of a bigger thing at that moment during that time. This is early 2000s. And kind of met that way, It's like, hey, we're doing a film. This is what we want to do. Let's do it. I have Kevin. I think Kevin would be great for this. I mean, in all for intents and purposes, Kevin is and forever will be Batman. I'm sorry. And there's many people that will say that, maybe not, but there's no presence on film as Kevin as Batman. It's intense, absolutely intense. And so that's how we met. And then from there, it came into what can we do? Let's get this going. I was a young actor in LA trying to just make films. I'm a superhero. It's what I do in my day job. Let's bring this into fruition. And that's what we did. So we got together in my apartment in LA and came up. It was all Aaron's idea, but the idea can only go as far as the actors input.
Agree. And you played a pivotal role as you were Nightwing in one of the productions, the original Nightwing.
Correct. I was in two of them. Yeah, we did Batman Madness and then one with Superman as well. And you show your picture online every now and then in the videos. But yeah, that's Kevin as Batman, me as Nightwing, Aaron, Sean, and then Superman. And time has passed. I forgot the gentleman that played Superman. But that was me in the conception doing it. We did so much guerrilla filming. It's crazy. Absolute craziness. We had no budget. Was that? Go ahead.
What was some of the craziest guerrilla filming locations? I heard you were on top of a building dangling off the edge or something. I
don't remember dangling off the edge. That was actually with the only dangling off the edge really was when Tyrone Reed playing Bane lifted me up as Batman. I played Batman once, only because the size difference of Kevin and Tyrone wasn't going to work. So they needed a smaller Batman. Mm-hmm. And then I was hanging off an edge. Tyrone was looking like he's holding me up, and then he breaks Batman's back. That was me as Batman.
Here's the clip from Batman Legends that Tyrone was in. However, it does not look like Tyrone was credited by Aaron being Batman's stunt double. This must be an oversight, because if there is one person in the world who makes sure people get credit, it's 100% Aaron, right? He would never not credit someone for doing some work.
But some of the coolest things, we were in the back of grocery stores in the back alleys. That was one of the coolest stories ever. We were guerrilla filming, and the cops show up. Here's Kevin Porter, Batman. Walks right up to the squad car. And he's like, officers, everything's under control. And they're laughing. And they're laughing. But the scene was so poetic in a moment, and they're just like, all right, just wrap it up if you can. Nothing was they didn't kick us out. Everything was done very well. Everyone was very well respectful. And Mad Hatter, when we filmed Madness, was in a comedy club, I believe. And then the Superman one was on the rooftops in Santa Monica. Anywhere we can get, anywhere we can go. That's what we were trying to do, to create this illusion, this magical illusion, to bring out to the audience.
Okay, now let's get to some not so good stuff. You were replaced as Nightwing.
By who?
By Aaron Schoenke.
By Aaron.
How did that? Yeah. Was there a conversation? Did he say, "Hey, by the way, you're out"?
There was nothing. Zero. So
Tyrone was replaced by Aaron just like Paul Molnar. The only reason I could deduce is Aaron wanted to be famous. His friend Rachel was told she was too fat.
To my face, I was told I was fat.
Only for her to learn later that maybe she was too fat and ugly.
Well, I now know that I was ugly instead of fat. Or both fat and ugly.
It's horrible. But now Aaron is saying to a fan that the role called for someone to do stunts and Amy Johnson was the choice, but he never really gave Rachel a chance. So I wonder what his excuse is going to be when he tells fans, if he even acknowledges Tyrone's existence, why he replaced him as Nightwing.
that suit was made by a good friend of mine, Mikhail, who was a seamstress that we all worked with at Universal as well. She actually made a Superman. I have a Superman suit that she made. It's beautifully done. That suit was kind of dear because we made it for the project. And so we have the conception, this is what we're going to do. I make this project. Kevin and I are trying to find gloves and taking gloves and ripping them apart, putting them back together to make, Robin style Batman gloves. And so this whole thing was very much blood, sweat, and tears to build and to create, right? This was an original for all of us, but the originality was me. This was me in the suit. And I used it for, 2 different films. And one day, Aaron's like, hey, Tyrone, can I borrow your suit, your Nightwing suit? I'm like, sure. Yeah, I mean, I know who you are. You're Aaron. That's just, absolutely. Here's the suit. You're a friend of mine. I give him the suit. And then I never talked to him again.
This is who Aaron is. He uses his friend's custom suit to take his role with zero notice, zero explanation. This was calculated, cold-blooded of Aaron to do. Why would Aaron invest in getting his own suit when he could just use his friends for free before cutting him out of his projects and even his life entirely? No word of Aaron reaching out to Tyrone, but chances are he won't because Tyrone is loyal to Kevin Porter.
And it was like, I found out that he filmed his own Nightwing project. And I'm kind of like, well, what are you doing? I'm Nightwing. We've made this. I'm Nightwing. Kevin's like, well, what are you doing? Tyrone's Nightwing. And nothing. That was it. Zero. I never got an explanation of what took place. I never got an explanation of why I wanted to do it, Tyrone, versus why you didn't do it. If you would have talked to me, spoke to me, and says, hey, Tyrone, this is the deal. I kind of dig the character. I want to make my own film. I want to see me in it. Would that be okay? Yeah, absolutely. But there was nothing. And to this day, I haven't talked to him.
Aaron, be honest, man. Why did you replace Tyrone with yourself? Why did you use this suit? I would love for him to answer those questions. Why you didn't tell him you were replacing him?
We would sit, and Kevin and I would be in LA and talking, having coffee. And Kevin's like, you got to jump on board, man. Just give him a call. This is before all this took place. And I'm like, dude, the guy won't even talk to me. He won't even reach out to me.
Yeah, sadly, you're not the only person he did that to. He did that to the original Joker as well. I don't know if you know Paul Molnar.
I don't know him because Paul was after me. I was the first. Wow. This is it. There was 4 of us in my living room. And after, what was that?
What year was this?
It has to be around 2003 to 4, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Well, he's been doing this to people for over 20 years. That surprises me.
Yeah. And someone asked me, like, why are you doing this? And it's not necessarily the reason why. It's because in this industry, something's going to happen to people. We can either be grateful of the opportunity, or you can take the wickedness that this industry has and run with it. I've been away from the industry for a little bit now with my kids and all that stuff, partially because of how wicked it is. Kevin has stayed true to it, and I'll always love Kevin and do the things that he wants to do. And I appreciate Kevin as a human being and as a brother I love. But there was part of me that just had to step away. And when you see not just what Aaron did, but later on in the industry, and this is not what this interview is about, the industry, but I'm just telling you how I stepped away, that this industry can grab a hold of you. And if you're not true to who you are, it's going to take you for a ride. And I feel that's what happened with Aaron.
Paul talked about how people easily become consumed by the pig, pride, ignorance, and greed. Aaron is ignorant to his wicked ways catching up to him as the people he has wronged are speaking out. Aaron still not learned his lesson, and he never will if he gets away with mistreating so many people due to people who were hurt the most staying silent or failing to share their whole experience with Aaron.
We all want that fame and fortune. That's what we go there. Unfortunately, you have to do some things in order to get it. And I just happened to be the first stepping stone when he saw an opportunity.
Tyrone may have been the first person Aaron stepped on, but he would not be the last. Aaron's entire career is built on the backs of stepping on smaller people looking to get into the filmmaking industry, as he has promised some roles in his projects only for them, or you as the audience, to never see their face or even hear their voice. A lot of people smartened up and realized all Aaron had to offer was broken promises and low rates. Thank goodness they moved on with their careers, and I'm sure they're all better for it.
He's done some great stuff, and I'm not going to lie. When I watch some things that he's done, it's fun to watch. It's spectacular to watch. But there's that part of you that looks in and goes, man, that hurts. Kevin and I, we were inseparable in LA, always together. And there's a part of me in the growth of Kevin in his career and the things that he's done, I would have been right next to him in a lot of the projects that he's done with Bat and Son. After one point, it just stopped. And I talked to Kevin about it, and I go, Kevin, it's funny because you were on Salvage Marines or Valiant and stuff like that. I wonder if I would have been there with you had I still had been part of the Bat and Son family, because that's what started a lot of the careers in that aspect. I mean, he agrees. He says, yeah, that's hindsight now, whatever it is. You know, from my understanding, Aaron, has messed up with a lot of people.
Knowing that he's messed up with a lot of people, why not choose to be anonymous and tell his story?
There's no reason to be anonymous. There's none. I mean, my picture's out on the internet. You've shown it. My name's there. This is not I'm not trying to defame him. I'm not trying to say bad things about him. I'm telling you what happened within my life and what happened to me in that aspect. Sometimes things happen. You know, again, this isn't for him. There's also things said about Kevin that kind of make it personal. You know, like if you said that about him and you've done that to him, then I have to step up also.
If Aaron could discard the one person who put Bat and the Sun on the map, being Kevin Porter, then everyone is disposable. Right now, Aaron is leaning hard on the cast from Legend of the White Dragon because, like Jason David Frank said, Aaron has run out of favors. He has run out of people to ask to work for him for the friend rate.
Interesting about Aaron is the budget gets higher and higher. Do you know why? Because he's running out of favors. That's why. If you can shoot and say, well, I can shoot this for X amount, but nobody wants to work because he's running out of favors. And people don't want to work with him. That is the truth.
His Deadpool greatest hit video did less than 30K with a channel with 2 million subs. He can't even promise you guys exposure anymore. Truth be told, everyone who stopped working with him went on to become way more successful. I know he would like to take claim for their success as they started out working for him for free, but there's another flip side to that. Would they actually be further in their career if they were never stalled and stifled by working for Aaron?
But I'm not. There's me not trying to get anything out of this. I'm
okay.
Happily married with kids, and
yeah, way too many kids for me.
Yeah. So there's no gain in this for me. There's more of it's funny because my wife asked the same question, like why? Because there's a particular point in the industry and about character development inside yourself that you have to see and understand. And when you meet people, you have to be able to judge them by their character. Judge them by what they've done and what they do and how they treat people. And if you sacrifice your soul for the gain of fame and fortune, that shouldn't be applauded. That should be a telling of who you are.
As I say, guys, I'm convinced Aaron will sacrifice any relationship or person for his own benefit. Look how many people who have walked through the revolving doors over there at Bat and the Sun that will never walk through those doors again. And Aaron is ready with his new round of recruits, ready to exploit them for his gain. If Aaron will sacrifice Kevin Porter, then that should tell you that no one is safe. What would you have to say to the people who are choosing to remain anonymous, who have been wronged by Aaron?
Nothing. I mean, it's not my place to judge other people and to say, look, you should step forward and come out, or you should stay hidden. It's not my place. I don't find any ill towards anybody that hasn't came out or that won't come out or that wants to stay hidden. We all choose to deal with things in a particular way. And just because one chooses a different avenue versus the other doesn't make them any more wrong.
Sincerely, I do wish more people would come forward to tell their story. So it's not discounted, but I do understand people have their motives for remaining quiet, but I hope you gain strength to come forward like so many others, because I know Aaron has wronged so many people, but the only way it will stop is if more people are made aware of what could or did happen to those that worked with him and parted ways. I've sent you some videos. Mm-hmm. What was the most surprising thing that you've seen so far, if you watched any of them at all?
I did. I think seeing the relationship that he had with JDF, that was very, very telling. Because again, mind you, I'm far removed. I'm far gone. This is way, way beyond me. And even with the superhero beatdowns, way beyond me. But when you see the growth of what Aaron has became, at one point I looked at it going, regardless of the way you treated me and what happened to us, I was proud of that. I was proud because I knew I was a part of that I helped build that. The foundation of Bat in the Sun, purely in my personal opinion, relies heavily on Kevin Porter. And Kevin, when we talk, say, Tyrone, no, it's you with me. But knowing the greatness that it was producing, the Bat in the Suns, and the joy it was bringing to people. Because I even when I saw Batman Invader, that was a joy. I'm like, not only am I watching it as a fan, I watch it as, that's my brother, that's Kevin. And people look to him as, that's freaking Batman. And that was built because of Bat in the Sun and the things in the family that we created, and I took pride in that. Even though I was far removed of it, I look to my kids and I show people, I go, yeah, I knew them when we started that. And at one point, he was a friend of mine. I still look at it as this pretty cool. So when I see those videos and see how he treated, Jason, it saddens me, because here now you had something so pure in it and so great because the comic book industry, the fans, they are true. And they are true as you can get. And then when you see, the sad part is that some of the fans don't see the backstories, right? They don't see the pain. They don't see the journeys. And they don't see any of that. And so this illusion that you're watching on screen will always be that. Will always be that illusion. And then you hear this stuff and you're like, why? Why would you do that? I mean, as when I see it, and I talk about it, I go, this is Jason. He could have been your biggest asset, but your ignorance and your greed and your self-glorification overtook what it was to become nothing.
Aaron started off his career with hopes and potential of being a great filmmaker. Now all his skeletons are coming out the closet, casting a dark cloud over his disingenuous persona of peace and positivity, because it turns out he is nothing more than a talent parasite who only thinks about who he can use to get fans to donate money to him so he could upload videos to make money off them on YouTube, because that is truly all he knows. I mean, what major studio is looking to hire Aaron? If you could send one message to Aaron, what would it be? Because he'll say he doesn't watch my content. And you know what? Chances are, after this airs, he'll probably call you up. He'll probably follow you on Instagram. He'll probably send you a message.
Like I mean, if you do, Aaron, I don't hate you. I never did. I don't know what happened between us because I never talked to you. There was nothing that was said. It was just done. But you can never fall too far to where you can never get back up. We all make mistakes. Every single one of us, myself included. We all make mistakes and we all choose a different path sometimes because self-greed and self-glorification seems to be more prevalent than being selfless. What saddens me is that you film for the filming of superhero content. The sole purpose of a superhero is to be selfless. And here you are, selfish. So if we could just switch that around and come back to lifting people up from being down and let them look to you as a hero, because superheroes bring hope to people. They bring hope. There's a lot of people in this world that are down, and they look to certain comic book characters and certain things that happen within their life, and they need that. When you are in a position to provide an outlet for others, that's greatness. And sometimes sin takes over. the devil will take over. And you can't produce greatness when you're filming in the darkness.
At this point in Aaron's career, he is solely filming to make money. And going back to the interview, I thought it was over because Tyrone pretty much told his story as complete as he possibly could. But I had to see if there was anything he had to say, like any last words.
Every single one of you guys that have done Superhero Beatdown, I applaud you. Every single one of you guys who are part of the projects, I still applaud you. Kevin Porter, Paul, there's a lot of people I haven't even met Casper, Jason, you were doing and you did great things. And just because one person did you wrong doesn't mean you have to stop doing the great things. It just means that you're able to teach others about the wrongness that people do in life.
This was a powerful interview. I still have 3 more on the way. I can't even tease the interviews because these people don't want to be harassed by Aaron as called as soon as he sees their face, or maybe Nicole reaching out to say, hey, you should really talk to Aaron. He wants to talk to you. But if you know, or someone you know was wronged by Aaron Schoenke, please reach out to me at henryresilient@gmail.com. I really want to hear your story.